Hi, Miss Fisher. My
Yes.
name's Ted. I'm a social worker here at Shasta Regional. How are you doing today?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm glad to see they got you up in a chair. Do you mind if I sit down?
No, that's fine.
I gotta tell you, you have the nicest hospital room we have. This is the only one with a couch. So really kind of lucked out there. Do you know what day it is?
I know that it's November 23rd, 22nd, 23rd, I think. I've been in there for a couple days.
Okay, yeah, the days do tend to blend
Yeah.
in a hospital.
Yeah.
Do you know what's going on? Why you came to the hospital?
I fell down at home and my neighbor called 911 and they brought me in, and so I have diabetes and I don't always care for have the proper care, and so they brought me in.
Okay. What do you mean by you don't always have the proper care?
I guess I just don't really have a lot of support or friends or family that know a lot about that, so I tend to just pretty much eat what I want and I don't really take care of my health, and so I sometimes end up in here in the hospital.
Gotcha. How long have you had diabetes? Or how long have you known you had diabetes?
I think probably a couple of years.
Oh, okay. Did you ever go to any education, or have you ever talked to a diabetic counselor or one of our nurses that does diabetes education?
Not really, honestly. They've given me handouts and stuff, but I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I'm a single mom and I have kids, and it's just, I find that I take care of my family before I take care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I focus a lot on my kids and school and stuff like that, and we barely make ends meet financially, so, I don't even know what I would qualify for, but I know that I don't have a lot of money for, diabetes care and that kind of thing that you're talking about.
Okay. Well, I hear what you're saying. Insurance should cover most of the diabetes care, and the medications, anything like that. I realize food can really be an issue, particularly with diabetes, because a lot of the less expensive stuff tends to be kind of high carbs and exacerbates the problem.
Yeah, and I went down and applied for food stamps,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't cook very much, so I buy a lot of frozen meals and things like that. So I think maybe if I had some kind of nutrition, if you have any nutrition information or something, maybe I could learn how to make healthier meals.
Well, I know one of the things that actually happens here at this hospital is if you go down to the basement, there's a diabetes education center. And if nothing else, every Tuesday between 10 and 12, they have an open discussion forum. It's just kind of like an education group, and you can come in and you can talk to a diabetic nurse, you can talk to one of the diabetic coordinators. There's dietitians who are down there doing education stuff. They can talk about how to cook and kind of how to manage some of that stuff. What are you doing on Tuesdays?
I don't really do much. I'm on disability, but I have my kids, and so I could try and make it. I didn't even know about it. Is there a cost for that?
No, it's free.
Okay, cool. I could try and check it out.
Yeah, that would be good. The other thing is that while you're here, I could have one of our diabetic nurses come up and talk to you, and maybe, it wouldn't be long, it wouldn't be extensive education, but it might be something to kind of get you started. And she could talk more about what they do at the Diabetic Education Center.
Okay, I would really like that.
Okay, well then we can definitely do that. You said you're on disability. Is that for a physical cause, or is it something else?
That is for anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and I just have had an anxiety disorder for a long time, so I ended up getting on disability because of it, because I was having a hard time holding down a job.
I can see anxiety can make some of that stuff really hard.
Yes, thank you for understanding. It is hard.
Do you get treatment for the anxiety? Do you see a counselor? Do you see a psychiatrist?
Not really. I used to back when I was married and I had a little bit more help with my kids, but since I've been divorced and just kind of taken on the role of a single mom, I haven't followed up with counseling, or I haven't even really taken my medication for it, and so it's just been a struggle for me.
Well, and see, I know you said you haven't been necessarily taking care of the diabetes either, and
Yeah.
is that part of that not taking medication?
Yeah.
So what's the barrier to taking medication?
I think, well, transportation has been a barrier because I haven't had a lot of money. I do have a vehicle, but I don't have a lot of gas money. So really, I just have been kind of just anxious about a lot of things and not taking care of it, and I just haven't focused on myself, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can certainly understand anxiety, especially if there's a chemical problem, but even if it's just everyday life stuff, and then adding to that the disease of diabetes and kind of some of the moods and emotions that go with that, because I know that can influence how people feel too.
Yeah.
But I also heard you saying that you really want to take care of your family and that you're focusing on your kids
Mhm.
over yourself. What are they going to do? What are they doing while you're in the hospital?
I usually have a lady from my church helps out with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty lucky. I have a couple people from my church that help out, but that's just temporary until I get home.
Yeah. Well, and some of it, at least while the kids are in school and you're not having to watch them during the day, spending a little time taking care of yourself might make it easier to take care of them.
That's true.
That's just a thought. But have you ever
Yeah.
flown on an airplane?
No.
Never flown on an airplane?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they go through this big safety talk in the beginning, and I'm sure you've seen it on a movie or on
I have
television
seen
or
it,
something,
yeah.
where the oxygen masks drop down and it says, be sure to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your child,
I've seen that.
because if you pass out, there's no one to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that kind of plays out a lot in everyday life, and I love to use that example because most people have some reference to it, either from movie or from actually being on a plane. But what do you think about putting the oxygen mask on yourself first?
I think that that's important, and I should probably focus more on myself so that I don't end up back at the hospital again, because my kids need me
Mm-hmm.
to be healthy so that I can be there for them.
Okay.
And actually, you were asking about counseling. I haven't been in a long time, but I'm interested in getting my kids into counseling too.
Okay.
Could you help me with that, or provide any
Yeah,
information for that?
I can definitely give you who to call that would be doing that. What's the concern with the children?
I just think that they used to be in it when they were younger, and I just kind of dropped the ball on everything. And when I got divorced, we had planned on putting them back into counseling, and I never did. So.
Okay. Yes, I can definitely help you with connecting to the resources that would help provide counseling. I'm assuming, and I don't mean to be presumptuous, that cost would definitely be a factor.
Yeah, cost is a factor.
And there are some resources out there, and some of them might be through the children's school too.
Oh, okay.
I know Creekside Counseling does, they do some counseling in the schools at no cost or on a sliding scale based
Okay.
on income. But anyway, that's one direction to go, and there's other ones out there. Is it just counseling for behavior stuff, or is there mental health diagnosis with the children? Or?
No, there's no mental health diagnosis. They just act up a lot, and I think it's just because I haven't been myself lately, so I haven't
Yeah.
been on top of, discipline and
Right.
so stuff like that.
Well, then something else that might be useful is maybe parenting classes. You don't have to be a bad parent to go to parenting classes. It's kind of like, it's a skill. You just build it. And whether you're good, bad, medium, whatever, going to classes and, honing that skill can be beneficial. So even the greatest parent in the world can benefit from stuff like that. And that might be something else to look at. And a lot of the counseling stuff that I'll give you a list later that's got some of that. But a lot of that would have those types of things included on it.
Okay, could you give me a list of where in town they're
Mhm. located?
Because transportation's kind of an issue.
Yeah, I can. And surprisingly, it was a client I met in the hospital. He said that I gave him some resources to look into, and he said that clearly it meant the government was out to get him because there weren't bus routes attached to the resources, because people like him always traveled by bus. And so conveniently, they actually now have all the bus routes along with the address of where to go on our contact stuff, just because he was
Oh,
right.
cool.
That was precluding people from accessing a lot of services.
So you can give me a list of where to go and then the bus route number.
Mhm.
Well, I have a vehicle, but if I run low on gas, I'll just take the bus. It'll be easier for me.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And then what are they doing for you medically here? Do you know?
I'm not sure. They've been really great. They've been nice to me, and I know they have me on different food
Mhm.
precautions. I can only eat certain things, and I feel better already just since they've changed my diet.
Yeah.
But maybe when the doctor comes in, maybe you can be like a middle person and just kind of explain to me,
Mhm.
because he'll come in and talk to me, but sometimes I don't understand what it is he's saying.
Right.
So if you could maybe come up when he comes up, that would be really cool.
I'd be willing to do that. And one step further, I think I talked earlier about having one of the diabetic nurses come up. They tend to talk on a lot more, on a level that's a lot easier for clients or for patients to understand. Sometimes the doctors are in a rush to get from place to place, but some of our nurses can take more time. And they've got a lot more knowledge about diabetes than I do. So I'll be here with the doctor too, but
Okay.
just this would be an additional thing to help you kind of understand it, because really one of our big roles, and one of the big roles of hospitals, is to keep people out of them. We want people to be healthy, not critically ill and stuck in an acute hospital. It's miserable.
Yeah.
All these beepings that we keep hearing while we're doing this,
Yeah.
the IV pull, the people walking by in the hallway,
It's loud. It's
Right.
hard to sleep.
yeah,
It's hard for me to sleep. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
a
no one
lot.
wants to spend, weeks on end in a hospital.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So, the things I heard you saying is that you've had diabetes for a couple of years, but haven't really gotten a grip on it because you haven't had really the time or the resources to get education towards it to know how to take care of yourself really well. It's kind of playing out in that you really want to support your family and be there for your children, especially after the divorce, but your health is kind of making that take a back seat and making it harder to do that. So to help your children, finding ways to address your health would be really beneficial for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to do this for my kids so that I take better care of myself,
Mhm.
so that I'm here for them. I think that that's important.
Right, and you want to be there for your grandkids.
Yeah.
In 30 or 40 years when, you turn 50 and they come along.
And maybe we could talk to the doctor about getting back on my anxiety medication too, because I did really well.
Well,
When I was on that?
the doctors here are very reluctant to prescribe psychotropics. They're not primary care providers. Do you know who your primary care provider is?
Yeah, I go to Shasta Community Health Center.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would be the doctor to talk to about anxiety medication. And if it's really bad, talk to your primary doctor there about making a referral to their behavioral health side. And that's where they do a lot more of the psychological stuff and deal with things like anxiety or depression or things like that. They've got psychologists over there who specialize in that type of thing. But you have to see your primary at Shasta Community to get a referral over to their neuropsych unit.
Okay.
Okay. Is that too
Yeah,
much
no,
information or?
No, that makes sense. I think that if I called my doctor, I think they would just be able to refill my prescription. I think I would be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that would be the other route to go.
Yeah, I'm going
Um,
to try that before I make any appointments or
Okay.
anything, and just see if they'll refill it for me.
So then, why don't you call them now and set up an appointment? There's a phone in the room, and as you know, Shasta Community is right next door to us. So that way, maybe right after discharge, you could go do that and start making some of those positive changes you were talking about.
That's a good idea. Could you maybe give me the phone number? I don't have anything with
Yeah,
me.
I do. Yes, I will bring back the phone number for Shasta Community. I will bring back some counseling resources, specifically ones for the children,
Okay.
and ways to connect with them, possibly at school, because I know you said transportation's an issue. So if they can get their counseling at school, I'm guessing that would make things a little bit easier for you.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And, okay, is there anything else any other needs that aren't getting met, or anything else that's contributing to you having to be hospitalized, other than your body?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I do run short on gas every month. Do you know of any programs that might be able to help me?
There's actually a real big liability with gas.
Oh, okay.
People providing money for that, because then there's been agencies that have been sued for it. But one of the strategies a lot of people use when they're running short on gas is to look at other resources so they can save money somewhere else, which frees up money for gas.
Okay.
There's numerous food banks. There's a bunch of food programs around. I know you said you were involved in a church, and that a lot of the churches maintain food banks. I don't know what church you go to, but that would be my first stop, because there's someone who knows you and they
Okay.
know, that you would use it wisely.
Okay.
But if not, I'll bring back some other stuff. There's a whole bunch of different things around Shasta County, and hopefully one will be near you.
So use the program and save money in another area, and then use
Right.
that extra money for gas.
Right.
I like
The other
that
thing
idea.
is have you looked at the care program through PG&E that can save
No.
money? I've got contact information for them. You might be able, especially if you're on disability and have a relatively low income, you might get a reduced rate for your PG&E bill.
Okay.
Stuff like, I mean, just find other ways to save so that the money's freed up for gas.
Yeah, thank you. I like that suggestion. I hadn't even thought about that. I just pay my bills and
Right.
then I get really stressed when I run out of gas, but I
Right.
hadn't thought about finding ways to pay my other bills.
Right.
So thank you.
Do you get HUD housing?
No, I don't.
Have you ever applied for it?
No, I haven't.
Okay. There's a really long waiting list in Shasta County. It's multiple years.
Okay.
So it's not an immediate relief, but, presuming that your income qualifies, which everything you're saying makes it sound like it does, at least putting in the application so that as the years go by, that might come up and that might also be something that would benefit you too. Although again, not immediately because there is a long wait on it.
Well, thank you for telling me about it though.
Mhm.
I don't plan on going anywhere, so I
Right,
might as well just put my name on the list now and
right,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
Thanks.
How old are your kids?
6 and 4.
6 and 4.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're little.
Yeah.
So you've got one who's not even in school yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, it was very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna leave and I'll come back and I'll bring you some of that contact information I was talking about and some of those numbers.
Okay.
And I'll talk to the nurse and make sure she knows to put in a referral so that the diabetic nurse will come and see you. So,
Okay.
Or sorry, not the diabetic nurse, so one of the dietitians will come and talk to you about diabetes and ways to manage the food. And I'm also going to tell the nurse to have her page me whenever the doctor comes.
Thank
so
you.
that
I would really
you can be
appreciate
here and
that.
have someone maybe translating a little bit or